Recession grants, grants to help in hard times. And we're going to talk about SBA grants and updates and money still available from the SBA. Let's get started. Hey everyone, I'm Rinde from AskRinde, and welcome to the #1 community for real estate, income, grants, and credit. So if you'd like to know more about recession grants, grants to help in hard times, and also over $56 billion of SBA funding and grants still available, make sure you watch the video to the end and leave a comment below if you need help with anything. So, are we in a recession? Well, it depends on your positioning. We may or may not be. One thing is for sure, there's high inflation, there's high rent prices, there's high gas prices, and people are finding it very expensive to live, and they're having a hard time. And like I always share here on my channel, you need to start a business to increase your income and tap into sources that'll show you where to find free money and also resources. So we are that source for you. So in this video, I'm going to share with you a few ways to be able to get access to free money and also grants. But before I do, let's get into this SBA update. Now, the SBA recently closed down the EIDL program on May 6th, citing that the funds have finally run out, with 4 million program loans approved, but many businesses still waiting. Now, there's a lot of speculation that the funds haven't indeed run out, but that the SBA is actually holding out whatever balance there is to be able to cover their administrative costs. So there are a few senators lobbying and petitioning the SBA to pull money from other programs to keep the EIDL program open, specifically for other businesses who have not basically received the funds and are still in the waiting process. There are many small businesses, thousands of them, that are still held in limbo. So according to a source that we use on government spending, a website called usspending.gov, the SBA still has money. So for education, the SBA still has $200 billion in funds, but the money must be spent by 2026. For disaster relief, the SBA still has $70 billion in funds. For PPP and the Paycheck Protection Program, the SBA still has about $3 billion, and they spent about $830 billion on the PPP program. For unemployment compensation, the SBA has about $56 billion in funds remaining. So this is probably where these senators are citing the SBA to actually pull the funds from to keep the EIDL program open. Whether they're going to do it or not, it remains to be seen. We'll have to actually see what becomes of it. But as of now, they've officially closed down the EIDL program. Now, one thing is for sure, we've been tracking the SBA for years. We've actually seen them through all these different programs and cycles. As life goes on and as the years go by, different things happen, different disasters happen, different circumstances happen, and they come up with a program to be able to help with relief, to be able to help small businesses. For sure, we're actually heading towards an SBA gap period. This is a period where the funding window is closed, and the SBA is actually in the process of dealing with the current programs they have, closing things out, making sure that funds are going out, and then they're actually preparing for whatever is coming in the horizon, whatever new programs they are planning or that will be forecasted to come. And this is one of the main reasons why I always say to look at the SBA as another option, because their programs have a timeline. Their programs eventually stop and they die out, and then they actually have to spawn and create a new program. So you actually really want to be in a position where you're really going for grants and moving forward your business, moving forward your vision without actually just completely relying on the SBA, because the SBA's funds and their programs will run out. This is one of the reasons why I teach you guys how to actually get grants from various sources, a broad way of actually getting grants, not just focusing specifically on the SBA, because it's not a wise principle, especially when you have a business and you're looking to try to constantly get funds as an income stream for that business. Remember, the SBA, they have criteria, and one of the main criteria that they have and they look for is employee count. So you want to make sure that, being that you're going to basically keep the SBA as a future option for your grants and income stream into your company and into your businesses, you want to make sure that you're preparing now, looking at what happened previously when they actually approved companies. There are many companies that were denied, that actually had to appeal the SBA's decision based on not only their location, but based on their employee count, based on their business setup. So these are things and lessons that we actually have to look at, prepare for future grants from the SBA and other sources. But like I said all the time, we always try to teach you guys the core, the root of how to position yourself to be able to get grants, funding and position your company to constantly get money no matter what, regardless of the SBA or any specific source, local or national. We want to position you so you're constantly in a position to get grants and compete for grants nationwide. And that's one of the key things that I teach in our grants masterclass. So as we know, the SBA is something that we're going to have to watch and see what they do. If they're actually going to continue and open up the EIDL program for more funds, we'll have to see. But in the meantime, you need to be reaching for all the ARPA funds that are dropping through these programs and all other grants that are available around the country. So these are 3 grants, $10,000 and up, that you can apply for. Number 1, the eBay Up and Running Grant, $10,000 in grants. So the grants are being administered by Hello Alice, and they've given over $1.5 million in grant funding since 2020 and helped over 150 entrepreneurs. So these grants are actually going to be targeting 50 eBay sellers with $10,000 in cash, and also eBay education through eBay Academy. So to qualify, you must be an eBay seller that's top rated. You also must have joined eBay prior to February 28th of 2022. So the application process opened on May 2nd, and the deadline to apply is June 10th. And the winner will be notified in September of 2022. So to apply, you can go directly to the website at helloalice.com/partners/eBay. Number 2, State Farm LISC grant, $2 million in grants. So State Farm is expanding its grant program through the LISC, the Local Initiative Support Corporation, which is a national nonprofit founded by the Ford Foundation in 1979. Now the LISC is a great source for grants, and I've talked about them several times here on my channel, and we actually include a lot of information on them in our resource area, because the LISC has given out over $1.5 billion in grants since its inception. It's one of the biggest sources for grants, and they're great people to actually tap into when you're dealing with trying to actually move your business forward on a local level, because they actually have segments in areas that they focus in on around the country. So these are going to be $2 million in grants that are going to be administered and deployed throughout 2022. Now the goal for State Farm with these grants is to fuel financial stability to families and also help build strong businesses on the local level. So far, they've given out over $151 million in grants. Now for these $2 million in grants, they're going to focus on 12 areas. Now if you don't know how the LISCs work, that's how they operate. They focus on specific areas and programs where they actually work through community development to be able to deploy the capital and help businesses and help corporations and also help families in those specific areas. So the 12 areas of focus for this particular grant are going to be Atlanta, the Bay Area, Central Illinois, Chicago, Houston, Indianapolis, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, New York, Philadelphia, Phoenix, and also Puget Sound. So these are the areas that they're actually going to focus in on, and they're going to have programs for each state in the areas of financial opportunity centers, commercial corridors, affordable housing, and also community safety. So if you actually go to the LISC website, you'll see that they actually have a breakdown of their programs and how they actually disseminate capital and how they disseminate grants and funding to all those different programs to impact those communities and make changes. So to align yourself with the LISC and to apply for this grant, you can go directly to their website at lisc.org. Number 3, City of Cambridge grants, $10,000 in grants. So City of Cambridge just recently announced its new Small Business Relief Grant Program, which is a $2 to $3 million grant program for small businesses. And these grants are meant to help these businesses recover from the pandemic with expenses such as utilities, payroll, rent, etc. So eligible businesses must fit the following criteria. Number 1, they must have less than 50 employees. Number 2, they must have been affected by the pandemic. Number 3, they must be a part of one of the underserving group of communities that the grant is earmarked for. Number 4, they must have copies of their bills. They will actually want to see your bills, and they want to see what kind of expenses that you have, so they can actually review that as a part of the reviewing process to be considered for the grant. Number 5, they also want a profit and loss from 2019. And finally, they want proof of payroll for businesses that have more than 2 full-time employees. So the deadline to apply for this grant is May 31st, and you can actually apply for this grant and get more information by going directly to their website at cambridgema.gov. So as I shared earlier, you need to start and have a business that generates sales and also gets you grants. So if you'd like to learn more about how to actually get grants, set up your business properly, position yourself to get grants around the country, make sure you actually join us for our grants masterclass by going to my website at AskRinde.com, clicking on grants and getting started today. Also, I'd like to send you our free 5-step grant guide, which you can actually get by joining my mailing list. So go to my website at AskRinde.com, get on my mailing list, and we'll send you that guide. So if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. You can also email me. My email address is AskRindeNetwork@gmail.com. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Until next time, thank you so much for watching.